How many of you have visited this beautiful table over here and had some of these wonderful, I know, wonderful nibbles, yes. Chris, from a young age, was introduced to local food and a locavore idea of food by his grandparents, who taught him to respect how we catch and conserve and grow our food. Home was Thunder Bay, Ontario, which is actually my family's hometown too, which I thought was a nice coincidence. But it is also a place where kind of, you know, a truck and a case of beer is sort of about how the weekend shows up for mindfulness. Chris had to take a different approach in terms of his understanding of sustainability and the career that he was going to want, and that led to a call west. He came to BC in 1999, and he's firmly planted roots. He started working at the Delta Suites, then at Kimpton Hotel's Pacific Palisades, then to the Listel Hotel and O'Doul's in 2007. O'Doul's, as you know, has now metamorphosed into forage. And I love the word forage, don't you? I mean, when I was a kid and it was like cooking time, my dad would say, let's go forage. And we would go to the farmer's market, or we would go to the butcher, or we would actually just go down to the boats at Steveston and talk to somebody that he knew about what was good that day, and that's how we would plan a meal. That kind of philosophy of what's good today from people with whom you have a relationship is what is making forage such an exciting concept and such a delicious place for us to go and eat. More importantly, they've taken sustainability to a whole new level. It's a showcase project on how to achieve financial savings through high efficiency and leading edge technology. They're reducing energy and water consumption by 30% in the kitchen and the front of the house, and making sure that everything is local and sustainable. And in his spare time, Chris is a beekeeper. How cool is that? Chris Whittaker, Forage.
Well, how do you follow that very inspirational speech? Yeah, from a young age, I was introduced to local food. I remember probably 3 years old, eating the green onions tops off my great-grandmother's garden, and you know, stealing all the raspberries I could and getting in trouble because those were for jam and that sort of thing. I remember sitting around the kitchen table making pierogies, peeling beets for canning until my arms were purple up to my elbows, and then at the age of 14, I entered industrial kitchens, and mostly hotel kitchens, and I started dishwashing at the age of 14. Not a lot of money in this industry, especially at that age and that time. It was, 22 years ago, so I think my first wage was $2.85 an hour, but loved every penny of that I made, and dreamed about the day that I'd be making sandwiches in the kitchen next to my dish area. So it was a love for me from the beginning. And then once I started cooking in these kitchens, the real, excitement around getting blueberries from Peru and escargot from wherever it was coming from, Chilean sea bass, and all these exotic ingredients became this is really cool that we're doing all this. And then a few years later, I'm realizing, wow, it's not really cool that we're doing that. And why do I need strawberries in January? And why do I need tomatoes year round? And there's no real reason for it. And there's ways around it. So, canning, preserving, even freezing. I remember going down to the root cellar at home, getting the potatoes and onions. I hated that job. It stunk down there, but they were always there for the year. So that's sort of where it all came from. And I joined Listel in 2007. They had a real focus on making a difference and making sure that they were doing things ethically and paying attention to, changes that were not necessarily profitable right away. There were scary changes, and putting heat recovery systems on the roof and solar panels that preheated our domestic water and that sort of thing very early on. And it really showed me they had a commitment to change. So I joined the team, and was put in charge of changing all these things. We had a great institution at that hotel in O'Doul's restaurant. The problem was, and the most important thing is, the brand did not fit what we wanted to accomplish. The recession hit, made it really tough for us to change brands and open a restaurant because we knew it would be imminent failure, and we waited. So we finally got to open. What we realized with that brand was that it was an institution, and people have been eating there for 20 years, and we respected that, but they still wanted tiger prawns, and they still wanted that Australian lamb because they've always had it every time they come for the last 20 years. And there's no way we could really adjust. We couldn't really adjust or educate them into changing, so we had to change the brand completely. And that's what we've realized that has been the most important key success for our business, is changing the brand. Not only that, our partnerships. I mean, Eric spoke to partnerships quite a bit. Green Table Network, Live Smart BC, and BC Hydro were huge reasons why we have achieved the successes that we've had in this early stage. I mean, we're 7 months old now. I think November 20th we opened. It's been a blur, so I can't exactly remember. They were the ones, they were the outside experts that really helped us achieve, we wanted to save 30%, and that was our sort of set goal in energy and gas and water. And that was very achievable, but we needed expertise in the field. And you got to open up your mind and let these people come in and meter your place and do all the studies that they want. You got to produce tons of data for them. How many pounds of food a year you served? How many patrons? How long did they stay per night? That sort of thing. How long were your lights on? It was a lot of background information that we needed to really measure our goals and make sure that we were achieving them. So we got to that point. We opened November 20th. We had all this background stuff. Like, we knew we were going to partner with all these people. We knew that we were going to have significant energy savings, and it only made sense for us to think of a concept that really focused on that from a food end, from a beverage end as well. So we sat around a table and sort of really wanted to sort of measure what we thought was going to be a successful concept and what the brand needed to be. So the question started coming to me. Well, what do you like to do? Like, what is your focus when you're not here? Well, I like to farm, I like to hunt, I like to fish, I conserve things at home by composting, making sure no waste goes in the garbage, recycling, all that sort of thing. I garden heavily, I keep honeybees, I keep mason bees, all that's being done. I was in the beehives this morning just trying to make sure they're not swarming on me. It's a constant battle, it seems, every day until July, but I can't wait till this month's over anyways, because but it really connects you with exactly where everything's coming from, and that's what I wanted Forage to be. I wanted to make sure my farmers weren't mining the land, polluting salmon streams, all that sort of thing. I wanted to make sure that if we are using proteins, they're ethically raised, hormone, antibiotic-free, free-range, grass-fed, and anything that we use from a seafood aspect was ocean-wise, so they're sustainably harvested, their populations are kept in check, they're well-managed fisheries. So we try to do that for everything. Back in 2004, I think it was, when I switched the Pacific Palisades to 100% ocean-wise throughout the entire hotel, banqueting and everything. Clients were freaking out that they couldn't have shrimp towers and all these sort of things and Chinese scallops, and it was a risk you take, and it paid off, right? And no one's second-guessing those decisions now, but at the time, you kind of had to take your lumps and sit at that table with the head office and explain why maybe we lost a couple pieces of business, or maybe we've got a few bad comments because I put Pacific pink shrimp instead of tiger prawns on a salad. but it's about trying to educate our consumers and allowing them to make the decision to dine with us or book their meetings with us and that sort of thing. So it really paid off at the end, and being able to be a part of the team I'm a part of now, I've had my cooks with me. When we talk about sustainability, I've had my cooks with me since I started in 2007. All of these guys were originally with the hotel, and they were doing things that, as a chef, I really was stressed out when I started, because they had shown a way that was totally foreign to me. They were cooking salmon on a flat top and draining all its juices and doing all sorts of crazy things. But leadership and mentorship in your business is the way that you succeed. And teaching people and taking the time, even though every second of the day is precious to us in the restaurant industry, but taking the time to bring in spot prawns, or taking the time to bring in fava beans and having them sit around a table with you for an hour and shuck 100 pounds of them, because that's where they understand that food is work for us, and food takes time. Good, nutritious food takes time, and it's not ripping open a can of cream corn or, looking at the ketchup pump and making sure it's full in a new plastic bag. We want to make sure that the next generation of our employees knows that it makes a difference when you take your time and do it right, and it's been all the difference for us, and that's where we're celebrating our successes. We're too young to realize the mistakes that we've made yet, so I'll keep you posted if I'm ever doing that. I'd like to thank you for having me here, and hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, let's hear it for all of these people, right?